Good evening, I'm Jessica Gosselin. Marina Moore is off. Tonight we start with breaking news out of the greater Sudbury community of Hanmer. Firefighters from 6 stations were called to the scene of a garage fire on Dupuis Street. Crews say the blaze is out now, but most of the garage has been lost, estimating the damage at around $400,000. No injuries are reported and the fire is not deemed being suspicious. Well, as we head into the civic holiday long weekend, forest fires are still on the forefront of many minds in the north. MNRF officials say crews battling the Parry Sound 33 forest fire about an hour south of Sudbury are making excellent progress. Here are the latest numbers from the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry. 47 fires are still active in the region, 21 are considered not under control, and 26 are being held, are under control, or are being observed. The Parry Sound 33 fire is still listed as out of control. It's already burned through over 100 kilometers of forest along the north shore of Georgian Bay. But crews have been able to keep it from getting any closer to Highway 69. Clearer weather is helping officials fight the blaze from the air, and air quality alerts for the region have been canceled. Well, if you've been wondering exactly where the Parry Sound 33 fire is burning, here's a look at the area. Now, despite the name, the blaze is actually burning a good hour away from Parry Sound. And although parts of Killarney and French River have issued evacuation orders and alerts, the vast majority of the region is totally unaffected by the fire. Even still, that fire does continue to pose a threat for drivers and communities ahead of the long weekend. As well, the evacuation order for Henvey Inlet First Nation has been extended due to heavy smoke from the fire. Still, firefighters are calling the current situation encouraging. CTV's Callum Rodia reports. And for a number of communities, an air quality alert was issued today by Environment Canada and by the Health Unit, prompting concern from locals and forcing some sports groups to think about the kids and their activities. CTV's Molly Fromer reports. The Doug Ford government is cutting a planned increase to social services funding in Ontario from 3% to 1.5%. The Community and Social Services Minister, Lisa MacLeod, says she will be overhauling and repairing the system in the next 100 days. And while the local agencies say they're still seeing plenty of need, the Nipissing Social Services Administration Board says the government's aim to get people off of assistance and into the workforce does align with local objectives. Officers are asking anyone with relevant information to contact the Timmins Police Service. They also want to remind everyone to stay safe while out on motorized vehicles like ATVs. Jessica Gosselin, CTV News, Timmins. Cross researchers say the hope is to have this mobile lab ready to hit the highway by September. Jessica Gosselin, CTV News, Sudbury. The town's mayor says the trestle bridge is a vital link for the future prosperity of Iroquois Falls and surrounding communities. The WSIB tells CTV that it will be conducting another study, this time with the Occupational Cancer Research Center. And as of last week, the board also says it will be accepting claims for neurological disorders associated with occupational aluminum exposure. Jessica Gosselin, CTV News, Sudbury. Staff scientists here at Science North say if you did miss this year's solar eclipse, you'll only have to wait another 7 years before the next one, which happens in April of 2024. Jessica Gosselin, CTV News, Sudbury. This is the 4th year for this special week of celebrations. And the teepee behind me on Northern College grounds will be a key part in this week's events. The school says things will wrap up Friday afternoon with the traditional meal and drumming workshop. Jessica Gosselin, CTV News, Timmins. Young says she's asking that the Housing Corporation look at each situation individually, but has yet to hear back. CTV did reach out to the Sudbury Housing Corporation, but was unable to get a statement. Jessica Gosselin, CTV News, Sudbury. As members of the band council left a closed-door meeting on Monday, Attawapiscat's chief said something has to be done about the epidemic sweeping through his community.
It affects the whole community, not just me or the council. It affects the school, the hospital, our community members, and even the other young people are feeling it too. And it's a sad town right now.
In a community of 2,000, Shishish says since March, over 40 people have attempted to kill themselves. Joining Attawapiscat's chief in the meeting were Mushkegowuk's Deputy Grand Chief Rebecca Friday and Anishinaabe-Aski's Deputy Grand Chief Anna Betty Achneebeneshkum. Officials say they hope to walk out of the meeting with some sort of strategic plan.
There's only 4 health staff that are here to address the health needs and of the community, and one of them is a crisis coordinator, and those people were just totally exhausted.
Achneebeneshkum says she brought a team of people from the Anishinaabe-Aski Nation to help, working with local resources and community members.
Whether we're talking about developing parenting programs and other programs that our youth are needing, perhaps maybe a treatment center here to like a community detox program. That is our role as Anishinaabe-Aski Nation, is to assist in community development.
Most importantly, Achneebeneshkum says she wants to see commitment from the provincial and federal government that the community of Attawapiscat's needs are met.
Whether it's a commitment for more housing and other an expansion on the health staff, perhaps maybe better assessment tools for the young people and the people that are have attempted suicide.
For now, workers from the Anishinaabe-Aski Nation will continue to work with those on the front lines and gather information, with a plan that will see them stay for the week. Jessica Gosselin, CTV News, Attawapiscat.
It's your mess, not hers. It's your mess.
It was a heated discussion at the Gogama Community Center as residents and property owners expressed their frustration to CN Rail and ministry officials.
As long as there's poison floating on our river and stuck in the sediment of our river where our spawning beds are, our master spawning beds, we're not going to be happy. It has to be cleaned.
Since the train derailment incident back in March of last year, CN has performed a number of tests and says that local water, fish, soil, and river sediment are now up to regulatory standards.
Nevertheless, we know that there's still sheen that is coming up from the actual derailment site, but what we know about the sheen is that the level of it is so low that it's not having an effect on any of those on the river water, on the lake water, on the soil or the sediment.
But the Gogama fire chief says just one drop of oil is too much.
You know what? If he wants to let his grandkids play in that water and catch those fish and eat the fish that are in that water, he's happy to. We're happy to let him do it. But my grandkids are not going to be playing in oily water.
And this Matagami First Nation resident says dead fish have been spotted belly up in numerous spots along the reserve.
I've lived my life here for almost 50 years, and over my entire lifespan I've never seen dead fish in our waterways like that, and they're not small fish we're talking about here. It's heartbreaking. I haven't gone fishing in the last 2 years. I haven't set foot in the waterway in the last 2 years. It's disrupted my way of life.
These people say no more testing. They want action. An NDP MPP for Algoma Manitoulin and Gogama native Michael Mantha reiterated those thoughts.
The monitoring has gone on for long enough. Gogama is going to get some action.
The local fire chief, Mike Benson, is now proposing to CN a course of action that allows the oil to be released, captured, and turned into clean drinking water. CN says it'll look into it and get back to community officials in the next couple of weeks. Jessica Gosselin, CTV News, Timmins. It's renewed hope for the people of Saskatchewan after years of having to brace themselves for extreme flooding.
I don't think that we should be subjected to living in a danger zone, no matter how prepared we are.
It's been rough. I remember back in the early 80s when they started first having the evacuations. I know that it was hard at the time. I know for our elders as well, being treated like refugees in our own country.
A short-term and long-term plan are now in place after an agreement was signed today between the First Nation and the federal and Ontario governments.
Today is really special for me to start working on something that is really important for my community. I think we've been living, like I said, in the crisis in the past too long now.
It's been a long time coming. You know, the First Nations should never have been moved here in the first place.
Drawings from children at the local school hang on the walls at the gymnasium that paint a clear message. They want to move. Those sentiments were echoed by the community's chief, who now waits for the government to follow through on the promises the signed treaty brings.
I think this is a big step for me and a big step for everybody to follow, and I have a lot of letters delivered to me yesterday from this school, and those letters says we want this, we want that, we want better life.
Chief Friday says his community has pinpointed one area in particular which could one day be Kashechewan's new home. He says a study is currently being conducted and should be done by the end of next year. Jessica Gosselin, CTV News, Kashechewan. Welcome back. Well, after a clear day and evening, we are starting to see the development of a few showers up around that Kapuskasing-Hearst area. And while most of that rain will taper off overnight, it will return by tomorrow afternoon. The rest of us will continue to enjoy some sunshine for the duration of the day. Those temperatures will also be warm, and we will also continue to feel that humidity in the air. Now, as we head further on into Friday evening, some increasing cloudiness will move through the region, and there is the chance for some rain overnight, especially into Saturday morning and afternoon, where we're seeing some of that heavier rainfall around areas like Gore Bay, Espanola, Elliott Lake, as well as along that Superior East area. Well, that much needed rainfall that hit most of northeastern Ontario is finally starting to taper off at this hour. Continuing to see some rain, though, around that Highway 69, Highway 11 corridor, as well as some cloud cover over much of the southern sections of our region. Also seeing the development of a few fog patches, particularly around Kapuskasing and Moosonee. All of that rain and that cloud cover will begin to taper off by tomorrow afternoon, leaving behind some clear, sunny skies for the duration of the day. Now, there is the chance for some light showers around areas like Gore Bay, Elliott Lake, Espanola, stretching up around the Kapuskasing, as well as Chapleau areas.